In a quiet village nestled between swaying palm trees and gently rolling hills, there lived an elderly woman known as Iya Bisi. She was famous for her Akara golden, crispy bean cakes that drew customers from neighboring towns. Every morning, the scent of sizzling oil and ground beans filled the air, calling people to her stall. But it wasn't her skill with Akara alone that brought her fame. Whispers had started spreading through the village. Iya Bisi had unusual patrons, customers who walked the paths unseen. People claimed that at dusk, when the light turned soft and mysterious, spirits came to buy her kara. Though no one saw these customers, Iya Bisi never denied it. Instead, she laughed, her eyes twinkling with a secret she wouldn't share. They're my best customers, she'd say, patting her old, well worn frying pan. The villagers didn't know what to make of her claim. Some believed she had a gift, a blessing that let her connect with the spiritual world. Others, however, were convinced she was just using the story as a gimmick to attract more attention. But Iya Bisi remained tight-lipped, allowing rumors to build and curiosity to grow. She seemed content to let people wonder. One night, young Tunda, a curious boy who'd often helped Iya Bisi with her stall, decided to hide nearby to catch a glimpse of these ghostly customers. He crouched low behind a cluster of banana trees, his heart pounding in anticipation.
The moon hung heavy in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the village. He watched as Iya Bisi set out her frying pan and began humming a haunting tune that echoed in the stillness of the night. As the hour grew late, an unusual silence descended. Tunda shivered, feeling a chill that seemed to come from nowhere. Suddenly, he noticed something odd. Though there was no wind, he saw the leaves on the ground stirring, forming small, swirling patterns that moved toward the Akara stall. Iya Bisi spoke softly, as if addressing someone unseen, and placed several pieces of Akara on a plate, pushing it forward with a gentle nod. To Tunda's astonishment, the Akara slowly vanished from the plate, one piece at a time, as if eaten by an invisible force. Terrified, Tunda stumbled out of his hiding spot and ran all the way back home, heart racing. The following morning, he could hardly keep quiet about what he'd witnessed. He recounted the strange scene to his friends and family, each detail more chilling than the last. Some laughed, brushing off his story as the imagination of a young boy. Others looked at him with wide eyes, wondering if they had all underestimated Iya Bisi's mysterious powers. Iya Bisi didn't seem bothered by the gossip that spread even faster after Tunda's story. She simply continued her routine, frying her Akara as usual and smiling at those who questioned her. She neither confirmed nor denied the tale, allowing the village to draw its own conclusions. But for Tunde, the experience was undeniable. He began avoiding her stall in the evenings, unwilling to tempt fate and risk encountering those strange customers again. As word of Iya Bisi's ghostly clientele spread, a group of village elders decided to investigate. They were pragmatic men, not easily swayed by rumors, and they were determined to expose Iya Bisi's claims as mere superstition. "These tales have gone on for too long," said Elder Ade, the oldest and most respected among them. "We need to put a stop to this nonsense." The elders approached Iya Bisi one afternoon, asking if they could join her at the stall to observe the strange events for themselves. She agreed without hesitation, her warm smile never faltering. "You're welcome to see for yourselves," she said, preparing her ingredients. As night fell, the elders sat by her stall, watching every movement, but despite their patience, the night passed uneventfully. Not a single ghostly sign appeared. The elders left in disappointment, convinced that Iya Bisi's story was nothing more than an old woman's trick to charm customers. After the elders' failed investigation, the villagers grew even more curious. Why had nothing happened that night? Was Iya Bisi playing games with them? Unable to resist, a few brave villagers gathered around her the next day, pressing her for answers. Finally, Iya Bisi spoke, her voice soft but filled with conviction. "There are things in this world we do not see," she said. "And not everything unseen is false. Some spirits walk among us, gentle and unseen. They come to me, not out of hunger but for remembrance, for companionship. Her words left everyone silent. She didn't try to convince them further or insist on her story. Instead, she turned back to her work, letting the villagers process her words in their own way. Some were moved, feeling a new respect for her, while others remained skeptical, chalking her tale up to the imagination of an elderly woman. One evening, not long after Iya Bisi's confession, strange things began to happen in the village. Doors creaked open on their own, shadows danced in corners, and cold breezes blew where no wind was expected. The villagers, now wary of Iya Bisi's tale, began to wonder if they had angered the spirits by doubting her story. People started approaching her for advice, seeking ways to protect their homes. Iya Bisi, always calm and collected, reassured them. "The spirits mean no harm," she said. "They only want to be acknowledged." She offered each family a small piece of Akara, wrapped in leaves, and instructed them to place it outside their door at night as a sign of respect. Whether out of fear or belief, nearly every villager followed her instructions, hoping it would keep the spirits at bay.
To appease the spirits, the village elders organized a festival in their honor, celebrating their unseen ancestors and the mysterious world beyond. Iya Bisi was invited as the guest of honor, and she was given a special place to fry her famous Akara. As night fell, villagers gathered in song and dance, offering Akara to the spirits as a sign of respect and gratitude. Iya Bisi watched with a proud smile, her heart warmed by the unity the spirits had brought to her village. For the first time, people saw Iya Bisi not as a strange woman with ghostly customers, but as a wise elder who had helped them connect with their past. Her story was no longer a curiosity. It was a reminder that the unseen world was as much a part of life as the world they could see. And as they celebrated under the moonlit sky, the villagers felt a newfound reverence for Iya Bisi and the mysteries she had introduced into their lives. And so, Iya Bisi's tale became a cherished part of the village's history, told to children and grandchildren as a reminder of the spirits who walked among them, guided by a humble Akara seller who could see what others could not. As time went on, Iya Bisi became a figure of quiet reverence in the village. Her stall remained busy by day, attracting people who wanted a taste of her renowned Akara, but her nights grew even more intriguing. While villagers accepted her connection to the spirits, few dared to approach her stall after dark. Those who did often left with an eerie calm, as if touched by a silent understanding of the unseen world around them. One evening, a stranger arrived in the village, a man dressed in fine clothing, a scholar with a skeptical eye and a curiosity about the supernatural. He had heard of Iya Bisi's tale and traveled a great distance to uncover what he thought was surely a clever trick or fabrication. As he set up his lodgings, he asked the villagers about Iya Bisi, taking careful notes on every detail they shared. He listened intently to Tunde's story, the elders' experience, and the accounts of strange happenings around the village. Each story fueled his determination to meet Iya Bisi and unravel the mystery himself. When the man finally approached Iya Bisi at her stall, he was taken aback by her calm demeanor. She greeted him as she would any other customer, with a warm smile and a simple "Good evening, sir." He wasted no time and asked directly, "Iya Bisi, tell me, are these stories of spirits true, or is it a tale crafted to draw the curious?" Iya Bisi studied him for a moment, her eyes kind but wise. "Not all things can be seen or explained, young man," she replied. "Some things are simply felt, understood in ways words cannot capture. Perhaps you should wait until nightfall and you may find your answer." The scholar nodded, his interest piqued, and agreed to stay until the spirits made their presence known. As night deepened, the air around the stall grew still. The scholar waited patiently, his skepticism fading as he observed a change in the atmosphere. Gradually, he noticed faint movement, shadows passing like whispers in the dim moonlight, leaves swirling in gentle spirals around the stall, and a cold that seemed to settle deep in his bones. He watched as Iya Bisi placed small pieces of Akara on a plate, her actions respectful and deliberate. And just as Tunda had witnessed, the Akara pieces vanished one by one, taken by an unseen force. The scholar felt his heart quicken. His logical mind struggled to grasp what his eyes could not explain. After a moment, Iya Bisi turned to him, her gaze soft and knowing. "They have come, you see," she murmured. "Not for food, but to be remembered." The scholar, humbled by the experience, found himself at a loss for words. The story he had sought to disprove had come to life before him, changing his understanding of reality. In the days that followed, the scholar, once so certain of his beliefs, became one of Iya Bisi's most loyal supporters, sharing her story with others and defending her quiet, mystical presence. He wrote about his encounter with reverence, portraying her not as a mere storyteller, but as a guardian of unseen worlds, a bridge between the living and the dead. Years later, long after Iya Bisi had passed on, her legacy lived on in the village. Children grew up hearing tales of the Akara seller who spoke with spirits, her kindness to both the living and the dead, and the mysterious night that had transformed a skeptical scholar. Her story remained untouched, a shrine of sorts, and every year villagers left small offerings of Akara in her honor, a gesture of respect for the unseen guests who had once visited under the moonlight. The story of Iya Bisi became not just a tale of mystery, but a reminder of the power of faith, humility, and respect for the unknown. And to this day, villagers still say that on certain nights, if you walk near her stall, you might feel a gentle breeze, see a faint shadow, or catch the aroma of freshly fried akara, as though Iya Bisi and her ghostly customer still lingers, bound together by a shared understanding that some stories are not meant to be fully explained, only cherished.